Living in today's modern society filled with its rapidly changing technology and values, we find ourselves blessed with many conveniences and objects of luxury. But sometimes the price we pay for our lifestyles seems to be a test of strength and endurance as we face daily the stress, conflicts, and economic burdens associated with our times. How often we cherish those moments when we're alone in a peaceful and tranquil setting, that we might still our thoughts of our daily affairs and contemplate the many mysteries of life, nature, and the universe. Have you ever, during one of your quiet moments, asked yourself and wondered about the purpose of your life? Where you come from, why you are here? Is there truly life after death? Why do some people succeed in their lives and in everything they do, and others fail? Are there any formulas to practical living that can afford us long, healthy lives, free from the sickness, disease, and despair that seem to afflict so many? What secrets have many famous men and women throughout the ages possessed that allowed them to contribute so much to the advancement of mankind in science, philosophy, music, art, and religion? Is there a dormant, unlimited potential within our minds that can be tapped and used so that we might become truly masters of our lives and contribute much more to ourselves, our families, and to the human race as a whole? Thousands of men and women throughout the world have wondered about and asked themselves questions similar to these, and have found the answers. They belong to an organization that has, for thousands of years, assisted worthy men and women who are earnestly seeking such knowledge. We can only be speaking of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC, known traditionally as the world's oldest fraternity. The ancient and mystical order Rosae Crucis, better known as the Rosicrucian Order AMORC, is a traditional, cultural, and mystical order that has members of almost every race and religion in the world. The order is an educational and philosophical fraternity devoted to the study and application of the higher principles of life as found and expressed in man and in nature. The name Rosicrucian is derived from the Latin words Rosae Crucis, which literally means of the rosy cross. The use of the cross as a symbol in this case does not hold the same religious significance as it does in Christianity, but represents, according to the ancient mystics, the experiences and challenges of life. The red rose centered in the cross has always symbolized the subtle qualities of the personality, the soul, or the immortal part of man. It also represents the evolution and progressive unfoldment of the soul personality as it successfully meets and masters the many and sometimes difficult experiences of life. The traditional history of the Rosicrucian Order and the use of the rosy cross as its symbol dates back over 3,000 years to the mystery schools in ancient Egypt. The word mystery at that time did not have the connotation which it does today. It did not allude to that which is mysterious or strange. Rather, it referred to a secret wisdom about life itself. History tells us that select bodies of wise men and sages formed schools to promote the study of life's many mysteries that over centuries of time gradually evolved into real centers of learning. In about 1500 BC, according to tradition, a great pharaoh Thutmose III was appointed by the high priests to succeed his father upon the throne. Upon this occasion, Thutmose had a mystical experience which overcame him. He felt raised as though he had ascended to the heavens. During this experience, he was illumined with a divine inspiration to organize an esoteric brotherhood. This organization was to be made up of both men and women desiring enlightenment, who had passed certain tests and were found worthy of membership. Through a veil of secrecy, they were able to conduct their work without being hindered by persecution from the priesthood and ignorant peoples of the land. This brotherhood came under the umbrella of the Great White Brotherhood, a designation that described the collective assembly of enlightened minds everywhere. The word white in this case does not refer to race or the color of skin, but symbolized the brilliant white light of knowledge, wisdom, and truth, the opposite of the darkness in which mankind often dwells through ignorance and superstition. The initiates of this Egyptian brotherhood gradually developed many of the rules and organizational structures that are still perpetuated by the Rosicrucian Order today. Nearly 70 years from the inception of the brotherhood, Pharaoh Amenhotep IV was born in the royal palace in Thebes. He was destined to become known as the most enlightened man of his time. He was initiated into the brotherhood at an early age. He was so inspired by its teachings that he changed his name to Akhenaten, which meant glory to God, and brought about a revolution in the religion, art, and culture of Egypt. He proclaimed for the first time in recorded history that there was only one sole living God. This was at a time when polytheism prevailed throughout the world. Akhenaten later became the Grand Master of the Brotherhood. Under his rule, a great temple and monastery was established near the Nile at Tel El Armana. This temple became the headquarters for the Brotherhood, as well as a great center of learning. During the last year of his life, in 1350 BC, it is said that most of his time was devoted to developing a wonderful system of symbols and rituals to express many of the teachings of the order. Though many remain secret, some have become known through the research of Egyptologists. All are understood and studied by the initiated. As the years passed, the number of initiates grew, and word of the great work and teachings spread to other lands. Many scholars journeyed to Egypt over great distances in hope of attaining the esoteric knowledge the schools had to offer. It was then decreed by the Supreme Council that lodges should be established in other lands in order to further spread the great light. Solon, Pythagoras, and later Plato carried the secret wisdom to Greece and Italy. In Greece, a charter was established and went forth under the guise of the Order of Therapeutae. Another group was sent forth into Syria and Palestine. This organization grew and became known as the Essene Brotherhood. With the recent discoveries made of the Dead Sea Scrolls, many historians and theologians have now been able to trace several of the famous biblical personalities of the New Testament directly to the Essenes. Both the Order of Therapeutae and the Essenes kept their allegiance with the Brotherhood's headquarters in Egypt. This headquarters was now located at the Temple of Helios in Heliopolis, having been moved earlier from Tel El Armana. Just before the Christian era, the Brotherhood is thought to have established a new school on top of Mount Carmel in Palestine. Later, about the time of the birth of Jesus, all of the records and library of the order were moved from Heliopolis to Mount Carmel in preparation of the coming of a great avatar, which had been prophesied. Although the Christian Church was not an affiliated body of the Great White Brotherhood, since the order was, of course, interested in the work of all religious movements, it did, however, sponsor much of its early activity. Many errors have occurred with competent historians in their research of the history of the Rosicrucians. This has been due to an interesting decree that had been made by the Supreme Council during its early years in Egypt. This decree stated that in each land where the order became active, there should be 108 years of outer or public activity to be followed by an equal period of silence, privacy, and lack of public knowledge. This cycling activity continued throughout the Renaissance in many of the countries in Europe and Asia. One of the commonly found mistakes in many books and encyclopedias has been to cite a revival of the order in Germany in the 17th century, started by a man named Christian Rosenkreuz, as having been the original founding of the Rosicrucian Order. This assumption was based on a mysterious publication that was circulated throughout Germany called the Fama Fraternitatis, that had made allegorical references to such an individual. Some historians maintain that this publication was written by none other than the famous English philosopher, Lord Chancellor, and Imperator of the Rosicrucian Order in England, Sir Francis Bacon. Bacon had authored the booklet in order to begin the revival of the Brotherhood in Germany at the time. The title Imperator is traditionally one conferred upon the highest ranking official of the Rosicrucian Order. In 1693, a group of Rosicrucian colonists sailed from Europe to America and settled in Philadelphia. They built many buildings in what is now Fairmount Park. In this center, the genuine secret teachings of the order were first introduced in America. Both Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson made intimate contact with this Rosicrucian lodge. In accordance with the rules then established, the American order went into its silent cycle 108 years later. During the many hundreds of years up to the American Revolution, the great archives of the order had been moved to Toulouse, France. The activity of the Rosicrucians had always been popular in France, and Toulouse had thus been chosen as the location for the headquarters of the International Supreme Council. When the time came for the revival of the Rosicrucian Order in America in 1909, many individuals aspired to the mission of founding its new cycle. The European officers of the International Supreme Council had, however, found only one man worthy and prepared for the role of Imperator of the Rosicrucians for America. That man was H. Spencer Lewis. He had been a scholar in the field of metaphysical and esoteric sciences for a number of years. In 1909, he journeyed to Toulouse, France, where he hoped to learn more about the Rosicrucians. After many tests and trials, Spencer Lewis was permitted to meet one of the officials of the French Rosicrucian Order. He was ultimately initiated in Toulouse and was instructed and prepared to reactivate the ancient mystical order of the Rosae Crucis in America. When his studies were completed, a manifesto was publicly issued announcing the birth of a new cycle in the United States in 1915. The order grew rapidly in the years that followed, with the Supreme Lodge moving westward over a period of years, at last settling in California, where a Rosicrucian park was established. The Rosicrucian term for death is transition. H. Spencer Lewis passed through transition on August 2nd, 1939. He was succeeded by his son, Ralph M. Lewis. Many eminent Rosicrucians have been instrumental in the advancement of mankind. You are probably familiar with many of them. Sir Francis Bacon, English philosopher, scientist, and author, whom many experts believe was the true author of the Shakespearean plays. René Descartes, French philosopher. Isaac Newton, English philosopher and mathematician, who discovered the law of gravity. Gottfried Leibniz, German philosopher and mathematician. Claude Debussy, famous French composer. Michael Faraday, often called the father of modern physics. Benjamin Franklin, American statesman, philosopher, author, and inventor, famous for his experiments with electricity. Marie Corelli, English author. These are just a few. There are many more. These famous personalities, just as thousands of men and women throughout the world today, practiced the teachings of the Rosicrucians daily in their lives. Much of their creativity and insight into higher forms of knowledge was due to a state of mind in which the unlimited potential of the subconscious can be tapped. This occurrence is referred to by the Rosicrucians as cosmic illumination. This state of mind occurs in moments of profound meditation. Cosmic illumination is a mystical experience that often leaves an individual with answers to unsolved problems, intuitive insight into unknown realms, and in some cases, a condition of moral upliftment that is described as being spiritual in nature. Even though the order is not a religion, many members often turn to their religion of choice with a new interest, insight, and vigor. Rosicrucian techniques and philosophies have been developed to aid the member in attuning to this insight. These techniques also assist the natural development of the dormant psychic abilities of the individual. Psychic phenomena in recent years has received much investigation and public attention. The Rosicrucian Research Laboratory, located within Rosicrucian Park in San Jose, California, has made significant contributions in the field of parapsychological research. In addition, Rose Qua University International offers ongoing educational programs through a worldwide panel of well-qualified scientists and specialists working to continually present and update the timeless Rosicrucian principles for an ever-changing world. These investigations, lectures, seminars, and advanced level courses have brought new light in the areas of precognition, mental telepathy, clairvoyance, visualization, meditation, auras, creativity, colors, metaphysical healing, and neurobiology. Besides the university, beautiful Rosicrucian Park maintains for the benefit of its members a research library, a planetarium for astronomical studies, an excellent sound studio, the world-famous Rosicrucian Egyptian Museum, which contains the largest exhibit of Egyptian, Babylonian, and Assyrian antiquities on the West Coast, an art gallery, the Francis Bacon Auditorium, the Supreme Temple. Today, the Rosicrucian Order is a vast progressive movement with lodges and affiliated bodies in almost every major city throughout the free world. Each member receives the private teachings of the order through the mail in the form of individual lessons called monographs. These monographs are studied one each week and are often accompanied by diagrams, charts, and experiments that can be performed in the privacy of the home, which allows the member to experience and prove for oneself the validity of the teachings. Once a specific level or degree of the studies has been attained, the member is introduced to a sequence of exercises which brings about a natural awakening of the inner psychic self. This system of mystical development is unique. It is the most effective program of study available in the world today. It leads to an eventual and ever-broadening state of illumination or cosmic consciousness, the ultimate objective of the Rosicrucian. Many husbands and wives join as companion members and enjoy studying together, enriching both of their lives. No extensive memory work or higher education is required, and the new student is advanced progressively from a rudimentary comprehension of the great laws of life and mind to a profound understanding of the basis for his or her existence and the practical techniques in achieving greater health, happiness, peace, and all that accompanies successful creative living. We hope you have enjoyed the story of the world's oldest fraternity. If you are sincerely interested in the mystical teachings of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC, you may request a free booklet entitled Mastery of Life. It may be obtained from a member or by writing to Scribe, WNA, Rosicrucian Park, San Jose, California, 95191, USA. This booklet also contains the procedure to use in applying for membership. We wish you a long, healthy, and happy life with peace profound.